How about Dubois? Dubois is coming into his own, man. That's what that is. He's only like 27, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's coming into his own. That guy's fucking scary. He's dangerous.
We beat them all. Can't none of them beat Efe.
Today we're diving deep into the clash of two modern heavyweights. Two knockout artists who've been making waves in the boxing world, Daniel Dubois and Efe Ajagba.
Triple D, Daniel, Dynamite, Dubois!
A fight between these two would be nothing short of an explosive spectacle with power, precision, and ambition on the line.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Efe, the one and only Ajaba.
But before we break down their styles and how they match up, let's take a look at their backgrounds, where they came from, what drives them, and how they've risen through the ranks to become two of the most dangerous heavyweights of their generation. So grab a seat and get ready for a thrilling breakdown of Daniel Dubois versus Efe Ajagba. Born in London, England on September 6, 1997, Daniel Dynamite Dubois has made a name for himself as one of the hardest hitters in the heavyweight division. Raised in a boxing family, it's no surprise that Dubois found his way into the ring at a young age. His father, David Dubois, was an amateur boxer, and Daniel himself had a decorated amateur career, amassing a remarkable record before turning professional at the age of 19 in 2017. The son of Caribbean and Nigerian descent, Daniel brings a mix of raw power and technical skill, a true reflection of the hard-working, no-nonsense mentality that comes with his upbringing. His heritage plays into his boxing style, which is all about strength, determination, and a relentless forward march, just like the Caribbean warriors before him. In just a few short years, Dubois has stormed through the heavyweight ranks with a series of explosive victories. His quick hands and devastating knockout power are his trademarks, and with a record full of KO wins, Daniel has become notorious for his brutal power, a modern-day heavyweight wrecking machine. But it hasn't been all smooth sailing for Dubois. His first real test came in November 2020 when he faced Joe Joyce in a highly anticipated showdown. Despite his earlier career showcasing explosive knockouts, Dubois took his first career loss in this fight. It was a tough, brutal lesson, but one that shaped his growth since. After suffering an eye injury that led to a stoppage, Dubois showed his resilience in coming back stronger, rebuilding his confidence, and recently reasserting himself as a major force in the heavyweight division. On the other side, we have a powerful Nigerian-born heavyweight, Efe the Silent Killer Ajagba. Born on April 22, 1994 in the city of Ughelli, Delta State, Nigeria, Ajagba has an incredible story of grit and determination. Growing up in a place where boxing was far from mainstream, Ajagba had to carve his own career path in a world dominated by soccer and other sports. Ajagba's heritage is rooted in the strong, determined spirit of the Nigerian people, and it's clear in the way he fights. His background as an amateur boxer, winning a bronze medal at the 2014 African Boxing Championships, propelled him into the professional ranks. What makes Ajagba stand out in the heavyweight division is his unbelievable knockout power. Standing at 6'6" with a frame built like a brick-and-mortar wall, Ajagba's jab is devastating.
Ajagba starting to tee off here on Darmos against the ropes, and it's the body shot that finally puts him down.
His right hand is a sledgehammer, and his explosive knockout power has made him a feared opponent in the ring. Like Dubois, he's a knockout artist, and his track record speaks for itself. Ajagba's rise to prominence came with an undefeated streak, including impressive victories over former champions Safari and Rudenko. His victory over Curtis Harper in 2020, where he destroyed his opponent in the first round, showed the world that this Nigerian powerhouse was a serious threat. But like Dubois, Ajagba has had his setbacks. In 2021, he was tested in his fight against Frank Sanchez, where Ajagba showed some vulnerability. Despite the loss, he learned from his mistakes, and his path to greatness continues with a vengeance.
Big right hand. Now Ajagba takes a knee, and then he gets hit as his knee was on the canvas.
Now let's break down how these two heavyweights would match up if they ever faced off in the ring. When it comes to fighting style, both Daniel Dubois and Efe Ajagba have one weapon in common: brutal knockout power. But how they get there is where the contrast lies. Daniel Dubois is a methodical, aggressive fighter. He's all about setting up his punches and unloading when the time is right. His jab, while not as flashy as some top heavyweights, is heavy, and he can break opponents down with his body shots.
He'll be looking to spear him. Oh my goodness! First shot is landed, the chopping right hand, and Carter down.
Dubois' most dangerous weapon is his right hand, and when he lands it, the result is often devastating.
Is about to go the same way. Massive right hand, and this time it's all over. It's all over, ended in the second round.
His boxing IQ has grown since his loss to Joe Joyce, and now we see a more patient, more calculated Dubois in the ring, ready to strike at the perfect moment. On the other hand, Efe Ajagba is dangerous. Long-range fighter, his jab is a powerful weapon, and he likes to keep his opponents at a distance, unloading that massive right hand when the opportunity presents itself. Ajagba's power is so overwhelming that just one clean shot can end a fight, as we saw in his knockout win against Ajaba.
Ajagba has to be careful as well because...
And he's down with the left! Through the rope, spitting blood!
He's a more measured fighter, picking his shots, and he has incredible endurance, allowing him to pressure fighters over the course of a full 12 rounds. So how do they stack up against each other? Well, this would be a fascinating clash of styles. Dubois' aggression versus Ajagba's power. If Dubois can get inside, cut off the ring, and land his heavy hooks and uppercuts, he could wear down Ajagba and make him uncomfortable. However, if Ajagba keeps his distance, utilizes his long reach, and lands that devastating right hand, it could be lights out for Dubois. Let's look at their most emphatic victories to date, and the lessons they could take into the upcoming showdown. Dubois had a huge TKO win over Fujimoto in 2020, a performance where he showed off his clinical knockout ability, ending the fight with ruthless precision.
Oh, not that time though, and that, I think, will be good night, Kayataro Fujimoto.
He also had a dominant win over Bogdan Dinu, a performance that reaffirmed his place among the rising stars of the division. Efe Ajagba, on the other hand, has displayed that same brutal knockout instinct, the canvas. Then there was the highlight reel win over Curtis Harper, where he blasted him out in the first round, reminding everyone just how dangerous he is. But both fighters have had setbacks. For Dubois, it was his loss against Joe Joyce in 2020, where he wasn't able to withstand the pressure and was stopped due to an eye injury. Ajagba's loss to Sanchez in 2021 showed that his stamina and ability to cope with a skilled technical boxer were areas of vulnerability. Dubois' victory over Anthony Joshua showcased his impressive growth as a fighter, particularly his ability to cut off the ring and apply constant pressure. One key moment that stood out was Dubois' use of his powerful jab in controlling the distance and setting up his more damaging punches. Against AJ, Dubois demonstrated his ability to move forward relentlessly, close the distance, and land devastating body shots that wore Joshua down. This was a significant part of his success, as he disrupted Joshua's rhythm and forced him to fight at a pace he wasn't comfortable with. In the matchup against Efe Ajagba, Dubois' ability to cut off the ring and apply constant pressure would likely be a major challenge for Ajagba. The Nigerian's tendency to struggle against fighters who can close the distance and get inside his jab could play into Dubois' strengths. While Ajagba is known for his explosive power, he's shown vulnerabilities when forced to fight in close quarters. Dubois, with his ability to work the body and stay in his opponent's face, would likely be able to disrupt Ajagba's longer range attack, forcing him into uncomfortable exchanges that could tilt the fight in Dubois' favor, especially when we refer back to how Ajagba struggled against Sanchez's dynamic style of fight movement. If these two heavyweights met in the ring, expect explosive drama from the first bell. Ajagba's ability to land that killer right hand is a serious threat to Dubois, but I believe Dubois' pressure, relentless bodywork, and ring IQ would be enough to neutralize the Nigerian's firepower over the long haul. While Ajagba's power could stop anyone in their tracks, Dubois' ability to adapt, absorb punches, and keep coming forward would likely give him the edge. This fight could be a war of attrition, but in the end, Dubois' aggression and heart would likely see him through to a hard-fought victory. possibly by TKO in the later rounds. Ajagba's Nigerian roots could be enough to convince an unexpected pundit, but Dubois' mother was also Nigerian, so both fighters carry that warrior DNA. But that's just my take. Who do you think would win this knockout thriller? Let me know in the comments below. That's all for today's breakdown. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another thrilling report like this. Until next time, keep your gloves up and chin down.